Let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're exploring the fascinating arc of an inventor whose ideas literally architected the modern world we live in. I mean, we rely on his breakthroughs every single time we flip a light switch or connect to a Wi-Fi network. Yet for the longest time, his name was completely overshadowed. We're talking, of course, about the one and only Nikola Tesla.
It's kind of wild to think about, right? What if the architect of the modern world was nearly forgotten by history? Because honestly, for decades, that was almost the case. Tesla was a guy who saw the future way before anyone else even understood the present. But to really wrap our heads around the sheer scale of his intellect and how he envisioned tech literally a century ahead of its time, we've got to go right back to his origins. Section 1. Sparks of an Inventive Mind.
Now, Tesla's genius wasn't just pulled out of thin air. It was deeply rooted in his upbringing. Born in 1856 in the tiny village of Smiljan in the Austrian Empire, his dad was actually a priest. But young Nikola, he was displaying some serious next-level intelligence right from the start. We're talking about a kid with a memory so sharp he could memorize entire books after reading them just once. He'd spend hours just watching nature, figuring out the nuts and bolts of how machines worked. And that curiosity naturally snowballed into his youth, where he absolutely crushed it academically in engineering, math, and physics. He became dead set on this one idea: electricity was going to shape the future. And that intense conviction, that's what brought him to America in 1884. He showed up with pretty much empty pockets, just a few belongings, a letter of recommendation, and some absolutely massive dreams.
You know what's really fascinating, though? A huge influence on him was actually his mother. Even though she didn't have any formal education, she was incredibly sharp and creative. She was constantly designing these ingenious little tools and gadgets just to make daily household chores easier. Watching his mom problem solve and invent like that directly shaped Tesla's own mind from a super early age. It completely sparked his lifelong obsession with creating machines. Not just fun novelties, but tools that would genuinely change people's everyday lives. Section 2. The War of the Currents. So shortly after landing in America, ready to put that brilliant brain to work, Tesla actually teamed up with the already famous Thomas Edison. But a massive ideological battle was brewing between these two heavyweights. Edison was all in on direct current, or DC. Tesla, on the other hand, was passionately convinced that alternating current, or AC, was the real future. And let me tell you, this wasn't just some friendly workplace debate. This was a fundamental clash over how the entire planet was going to be powered. The whole thing basically boiled down to one word: distance. Alternating current allowed electrical power to travel hundreds of kilometers efficiently and economically. See, back then, Edison's DC system could only push electricity over super short distances. You practically needed a power plant on every other city block. Tesla's AC system came along and completely obliterated that massive engineering roadblock. It allowed power to flow across vast distances without losing its punch. A total game changer. And why does that matter to us today? Well, the electricity in our homes, those massive urban power grids, factories, giant industrial facilities, they all still run heavily on the AC principles Tesla cooked up. He absolutely won the war of the currents. It's widely considered one of the most crucial engineering breakthroughs in human history, purely because it is literally powering the room you're sitting in right now. Section 3. Triumph at Niagara Falls. Now, we get to a project of completely unprecedented scale, one that put his theories to the ultimate test. Building the hydroelectric power plant in Niagara Falls was just a monumental achievement. By harnessing the roaring power of the falls using his AC system, Tesla hit 3 massive milestones. First, it grabbed the entire world's attention. I mean, the sheer ambition was staggering. Second, it undeniably proved, once and for all, that alternating current was superior. And third, it essentially kick-started the modern age of electricity. Because of this, plenty of historians look at the Niagara Falls project as the absolute turning point in Tesla's life and career. This was the exact moment his ideas made the leap from complex math on a piece of paper to the undeniable physical power source of the modern age. It was an absolute triumph. Section 4. The famous Tesla coil. But of course, Tesla wasn't satisfied with just wiring up the world. He was already plotting the next massive leap. Enter the Tesla coil. It's an invention that churns out extremely high voltages, and it became the beating heart of his famous wireless energy experiments. This beautiful, almost magical piece of tech made him a global icon, giving us those striking, famous images of lightning bolts arcing across his lab. And the coolest part? The Tesla coil isn't just some museum relic, it's still used today in scientific demos and certain everyday electronics.
Section 5. Dream of a wireless world.
Okay, so this brings us to his most ambitious and frankly, most heartbreaking endeavor. Tesla wanted to untangle the globe from wires entirely. He envisioned a progression of tech that is just mind-blowing when you remember the era he was living in. His master plan? Step 1, nail down wireless energy transmission. Step 2, set up a global communication network. And Step 3, send information instantly across the entire planet. He literally pictured a world where data and power just flowed freely right through the air. This massive vision led to him building a giant facility in New York called Wardenclyffe Tower.
Now, does any of that sound familiar? Well, it definitely should. Mobile phones, wireless internet, long-distance communication systems. Just think about the smartphone you might be holding right now, or the Wi-Fi network you're using to stream this explainer. The tech we rely on every single day is almost exactly what Nikola Tesla was describing over a century ago. He basically saw the 21st century before the 20th century had even really gotten started.
But tragically, Wardenclyffe was never completed, all because the financial support dried up. See, Tesla was a genius at creating groundbreaking inventions, but he wasn't exactly a shark in the ruthless world of business. His investors thought his ideas were just too out there, too ambitious, too strange, and way, way too far ahead of their time. So they pulled the plug on his funding, which unfortunately led to some really severe financial struggles for him in his final years.
Still, the story doesn't end in total defeat. Even with all those brutal business challenges, Tesla's perseverance, his creativity, and his unmatched vision continue to inspire scientists, engineers, and inventors today. He never threw in the towel. Even when he was facing crushing financial hardship, he relentlessly kept chasing scientific innovation right up until the very end of his life. So, I'll leave you with this to chew on. If a man who died penniless managed to envision our entire wireless world a full century ago, what other forgotten ideas are just sitting there waiting to be built? What other crazy blueprints for the future are locked away in the notebooks of brilliant, underappreciated minds right now? Tesla's journey is the ultimate reminder that true innovation often just looks like magic to the rest of the world. Thanks for hanging out with me on this explainer as we explored the incredible, enduring legacy of one of history's absolute greatest minds.